The mansion stood silent that morning, too silent for a home that housed two 6-year-old twins. Inside, shattered picture frames and crayon marks on expensive wallpaper told stories of chaos. A tall man in a sharply pressed military uniform stood in the living room, arms crossed, jaw clenched. General Marcus Kane, decorated war hero, but a broken father behind closed doors. Beside him, the family lawyer read the resignation letter, the 12th in less than a year. Another nanny gone. "Sir, she said the girls locked her in the pantry for 3 hours." Marcus didn't flinch. He just stared at the empty hallway where two small shadows were peeking out, eyes filled with defiance and loneliness. That was when Ethan Cole walked through the door, a man with calloused hands, a worn-out jacket, and eyes that carried quiet pain. A single dad, ex-veteran, and former medic, a man who'd seen more loss than most could imagine. He came for a job, but had no idea this mission would be the one to save him, too. Ethan needed the job. Badly. After losing his wife in a car crash 2 years ago, he'd been raising his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, alone. Bills piled up and his construction work wasn't steady. When his army buddy told him the general was desperate for help with his twin girls, Ethan thought, why not? But nothing could have prepared him for what awaited behind those mansion doors. From the moment he arrived, the twins, Ava and Ella, treated him like every nanny before him, a target, glue on his chair, alarm clocks hidden in every room, toy drones buzzing over his breakfast. Most men would have quit before sunset. Ethan didn't. He just smiled. That evening, when the girls refused to come down for dinner, he climbed the stairs, sat outside their door, and began talking. Not to them, but to himself. "You know, when my Lily lost her mom, she didn't speak to me for months. I kept talking anyway. Guess that's what dads do. Keep talking even when no one listens." The door cracked open just an inch. 2 curious eyes peeked out. Then, slowly, 2 small voices whispered, "What happened to her?" That was the first time they spoke to him. Over the next few weeks, Ethan never forced rules on them. He played soccer in the yard, let them bake pancakes and burn most, taught them to salute like soldiers, and listened when they cried about how Daddy never smiles anymore. It wasn't instant, but laughter began to echo again in the Kane household. Yet, General Marcus didn't approve. "They don't need another friend. Cole, they need discipline." Ethan looked him in the eye and said softly, "With respect, sir, they need a father who talks to them, not commands them." The words hit like a bullet. Marcus turned and left without a word. That night, Marcus stood outside the twins' room and watched, as Ethan tucked them in, read a bedtime story, and kissed their foreheads goodnight. Something inside the hardened soldier cracked, but the past has claws, and it wasn't done with any of them yet. 3 months later, the girls were happier than they'd ever been. The mansion felt alive again. Ethan became part of the family, teaching them kindness, patience, and courage. Even Marcus had begun to soften, joining them occasionally for breakfast or a short walk. But one night, everything changed. A violent storm rolled in. The power went out. In the dark, one of the girls, Ava, screamed. Her sister wasn't in her bed. Panic spread fast. The house staff scrambled, flashlights cutting through the rain. Marcus barked orders like on a battlefield, but fear shook his voice. Then Ethan spotted small footprints leading toward the woods behind the property, the same woods Marcus had banned the twins from ever entering. Without hesitation, Ethan ran into the storm. Branches whipped his face. Mud soaked his boots, but he kept calling, "Ella, stay where you are!" He finally found her, trembling near a fallen tree. She'd gone looking for the stray dog they'd been feeding for weeks. A branch had trapped her leg. Ethan lifted it, wrapped his jacket around her, and carried her home through the downpour. Marcus met them at the door, eyes wide, voice breaking. "Is she okay?" Ethan nodded, soaked and shivering. "She's safe, sir. Just scared." The twins clung to him like their lives depended on it. Marcus looked at the man before him, mud-covered, bleeding. but calm, and realized something he hadn't admitted in years. He wasn't the hero of this story anymore. The next morning, the general called Ethan to his office. He expected to be fired, but instead, Marcus stood and saluted him. "You've done what 12 others couldn't. You gave my daughters back their laughter, and you reminded me what being a father means." Ethan stood stunned. Marcus extended his hand, but Ethan shook his head and instead placed a small drawing from the twins on the desk. It showed 3 figures, 2 little girls holding hands with 2 dads. Marcus smiled for the first time in years. Weeks later, the general joined Ethan and the twins at the local park. Lily was there too, pushing the swings. For the first time, all of them, 2 fathers, 3 girls, felt like family. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Marcus whispered quietly, "You were right, Cole. Orders don't raise children. Love does." Ethan smiled, eyes misty. "Guess we both fought the same war, just in different ways. Sometimes, the hardest battles aren't fought on the field, they're fought at home, inside our hearts. And sometimes, all it takes to heal a broken family is one man who refuses to walk away.